It's the morning of August 27th, 1896. The island of Zanzibar, floating off the coast of East Africa, wakes to a heavy silence. The sea glistens under the tropical sun, ships rest quietly in the harbor, and the air feels still, almost waiting. Within the next hour, that calm will be shattered by cannon fire. In less than 45 minutes, the island will witness the shortest war in recorded human history. A war that would end almost as soon as it began, but whose consequences would last for decades. Zanzibar. For centuries it had been the jewel of the Indian Ocean, a center of trade linking Africa, Arabia, and India. Ivory, spices, gold, and slaves flowed through its harbors, making its rulers wealthy and powerful. By the late 1600s, the island had come under the control of the Sultans of Oman, who turned Zanzibar into their new capital. Palaces rose along the coastline, mosques echoed through the city, and merchants filled the streets of Stone Town, the bustling heart of the island. But by the 19th century, European empires were expanding across Africa, and the British Empire, hungry for influence and eager to suppress the slave trade, set its sights on Zanzibar. In 1890, Britain and Germany signed the Heligoland-Zanzibar Treaty, dividing their influence in East Africa. Germany took control of the mainland, which became German East Africa. Britain claimed Zanzibar as its protectorate. On paper, Zanzibar remained independent. In reality, the British now controlled its trade, its military, and its politics. Even the succession of sultans required British approval. For a while, this uneasy arrangement held until August 25th, 1896, when everything changed. That morning, the ruling sultan, Hamad bin Thuwani, died suddenly in his palace. He had been friendly to British interests, and his death shocked the island. Rumors spread quickly. Some claimed the sultan had been poisoned. Within hours, his cousin Khalid bin Barghash made his move. Ignoring British authority, Khalid seized the palace, proclaimed himself sultan, and raised the royal red flag over the palace walls. But the British already had another candidate in mind, Hamad bin Muhammad, a man who was loyal to their rule. When Khalid refused to step aside, British officials warned him of the consequences. The message was clear: leave the palace or face war. Khalid ignored them. Instead, he gathered his supporters, summoned his palace guards, and fortified the palace grounds. By nightfall, 2,800 men, armed with rifles, muskets, and a handful of cannons, were ready to defend him. Across the harbor, the British prepared for the battle. Rear Admiral Harry Rawson, commander of the Royal Navy in the region, ordered a fleet into position. 2 cruisers, 3 gunboats, and over 1,000 men, Marines, sailors, and Zanzibari troops loyal to the British. From his office in Stone Town, Basil Cave, the British consul sent a final ultimatum to Khalid: stand down by 9 a.m. tomorrow or we will open fire. The night before the attack was eerily quiet. One American observer wrote that the silence which hung over Zanzibar was appalling. No drums, no crowds, no sound at all. The city seemed to know what was coming. August 27th, 1896. At 8 a.m., Khalid sent a message to the British requesting to negotiate. The British reply was short: leave the palace and lower your flag. Khalid refused. He was confident the British wouldn't dare attack. At 8:55, the order was given aboard the British flagship St. George. Prepare for action. At 9 a.m., the time set in the ultimatum, the British fleet opened fire. Shells tore through the morning air and slammed into the palace walls. The bombardment began with terrifying precision. Within minutes, the wooden palace was burning. The Sultan's artillery returned fire, but their outdated cannons were no match for British naval guns. The Sultan's royal yacht, the HHS Glasgow, managed to fire a few shots before being struck and sunk in shallow water. Its mast remained visible above the harbor for years after the battle, a ghostly reminder of that day. Inside the palace, chaos unfolded. 3,000 defenders, servants, and bystanders were trapped as the walls collapsed and the building caught fire. Smoke and ash filled the air. By 9:40 a.m., the Sultan's guns were silent. By 9:46, just 45 minutes after the first shot, the war was over. The results were devastating. About 500 Zanzibaris were killed or wounded. Many burned alive in the flames. The British, in contrast, suffered a single casualty, a sailor wounded aboard the gunboat Thrush. Sultan Khalid escaped from the burning palace and fled to the German consulate, where he was granted asylum. Refusing to hand him over, the Germans smuggled him out to German East Africa, where he would live in exile. The British quickly installed their chosen ruler, Hamad bin Muhammad, as Sultan, but he ruled only in one name. Real power now rested entirely with the British government. In the months that followed, Zanzibar changed forever. At British insistence, Sultan Hamad abolished slavery, a long-standing practice that had enriched the island's elite for centuries. The process of freeing thousands of slaves took years, but it marked a turning point in the island's history. A palace complex destroyed in the bombardment was never rebuilt as it once stood. Where the royal harem and lighthouse had been, new gardens and British offices appeared. The House of Wonders, one of the few surviving structures, became the seat of British administration, its new clock tower symbolizing the empire's control. For the British, the war was swift, bloodless victory, a demonstration of overwhelming power. For Zanzibar, it was the end of independence. The island remained under British control for the next 67 years, until it finally gained full independence in 1963. But the memory of that morning in 1896 never faded. A war that began and ended within the span of a single hour would forever be remembered as a symbol of the age of empire, a reminder of how fragile sovereignty can be when confronted by global power. The Anglo-Zanzibar War lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. In less than an hour, a centuries-old sultanate fell, and a new era of colonial domination began. It begins to this day the shortest war in human history, a war fought and finished before the ink of the ultimatum had time to dry. And though brief, it marked the moment of Zanzibar's destiny, shifted from the hands of its sultans to the shadow of an empire that ruled the world. Thank you guys for listening to this story. It's one of many stories that I'm going to tell all across history, and appreciate you guys for listening and watching. And if you would comment or subscribe or even like, it would be nice. It would help, and I'll get more out there. Using a microphone on my phone right now because I don't have the money to get one, but I will work my way up, get better quality stuff so I can bring out better quality history deep dives for you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And we'll talk to you guys next time.